Hey everyone, Kyle here. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain a little bit. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm. They'll have everything you need all in one place. I can speak from my experience. It's been awesome so far and super easy. So go check it out, guys, and we'll see you later. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen, and welcome to episode 25 of this podcast. Super excited to be saying 25 episodes of this podcast. What a crazy journey it's been the last 6 months. We're almost at the 6-month mark, so pretty wild to say the least. I can't believe where this has gone. I can't believe all the things that have happened in the last 6 months, and it's just fun to see how this thing has grown and hear all the cool stories that everyone has to share and just really experience the world through other people's eyes and get to experience the world myself. So 25 episodes in, we're going strong and looking forward to another 25. But this episode, like I have been doing, I am just every 5 episodes, I'm telling one of my own travel experiences. This week, I thought I would do my time in New Orleans. So earlier this year in 2022, I went to New Orleans with my sister Nicole, and we had a great time down there in Louisiana, and we also went to Mississippi for a day, which was a lot of fun. So let's jump into it here. So it was back in February of 2022. Nicole and I went down to New Orleans. I gave her my companion fare ticket this year with Alaska Airlines, and so it was fun to get to share that with her. And I believe it was her first time in first class on the way back, which was a ton of fun to see her get to experience that. So pretty exciting there for me. Let's get into it here. So I know we got in the afternoon, and we made it to our hotel, which was just outside of the French Quarter, just outside of the main part of New Orleans. I think it took us maybe 10 minutes max to get to Bourbon Street. Probably more like 5 to 7 minutes to get down there. So we were just off of Bourbon Street, just outside the French Quarter, and honestly, it was super easy to walk around while we were there. So made it really easy. But that first night, we walked over to Bourbon Street, and then we walked down to the water. Went to the church there in the square, which I gotta look at the Google Maps here and remember what it was called for you guys. Let's see. It was St. Louis Cathedral, right on the edge of Jackson Square. Beautiful church. It was fun to see it like right as the sun was setting. Made it really beautiful, so really enjoyed that. We walked through the square there and walked to the water. And I apologize. It's late at night when I'm recording this, so I apologize. I walked down to the water. We went to Café du Monde, which is a famous bakery and coffee place there in New Orleans. I've seen it on, I think, multiple travel shows. For sure saw it on Anthony Bourdain's show, and I think on a couple others. But anyways, really great place. It was the original one that we went to. We had the beignets, which were amazing, and I had the coffee with chicory in it, which is how they make their coffee down there. They put chicory in it, which gives it a unique flavor. But I really enjoyed it, and would definitely drink some more of it if we had it up here in Washington State. But after that, after we went to Cafe du Monde, walked along the water there. We walked on Bourbon Street for a little bit, took some pictures of some neat places, and then we went to, can't remember the name of it, didn't take a picture of it, but this restaurant on one of the corners there on Bourbon Street. And I had the jambalaya, which was amazing. For all of you foodies, New Orleans is a great place to go. A lot of unique foods there. We had a ton of unique foods. Wasn't really budgeting for trying all the foods in my trip, but it was definitely worth it to try a bunch of the different types of dishes there that they have, and the drinks, because there's a lot of unique drinks and foods to that part of the country and the world. But I had the jambalaya that night, and it was awesome. And then we walked along Bourbon Street some more. Cornet is what it's called, on one of the corners there on Bourbon Street. And then after that, we walked down to Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop, which is a piano bar and lounge. And I believe it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest bar in America. I can't remember exactly what the story was with that, but it was really good. I had a daiquiri, which is, you can get daiquiris pretty much in any place there on Bourbon Street or anywhere in New Orleans. That is the drink of New Orleans. So, yeah, had that there. And then we walked along Bourbon Street some more. We walked back to our hotel. And actually, it was a small moment of our time there, but we actually got to go to the rooftop of our hotel. It was a Hilton hotel. Again, just a few minutes from Bourbon Street there. I think it was in the financial district or the business district, something like that. But it was beautiful because we were there right kind of towards the beginning of Mardi Gras and the Mardi Gras festivities. And so there's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot of lights going on. Everything was really festive while we were there. And at the rooftop of our hotel, you could look out over part of the city and see it all lit up. And there was this building that was like basically kitty cornered to where our hotel was, and it had this like tower that was lit up in the colors of Mardi Gras, the green, the gold, and the purple. So that was kind of fun to see. It was just a small moment, but a lot of fun. I like sites like that. Made for a good picture too, which I will share. That was it that night. And then the next morning we went to the Garden District, I believe, and we took a guided tour of the Garden District and got to see a bunch of the old homes and the homes of the rich and the famous, which was it was a lot of fun walking around there. Beautiful houses. Way out of my price range. They're very nice, very old, and it was you could definitely tell it was the wealthy part of the city, and still kind of is today. So we walked around there. The guide was awesome. He gave us a lot of good insight, great history. We stopped in front of one of Sandra Bullock's homes. She has a house down there. It's unique in that area because it's a Bavarian style type of house, which is not really the style of house down in New Orleans, where it's really hot and humid all the time. Bavarian style houses are meant for Bavaria, which is usually mountainous and very cold. So kind of an interesting house to be there, but it's where Sandra Bullock spent some of her time at least, and kind of interesting to see there. And then we also stopped in front of John Goodman's house, which the guide was telling us that sometimes he's actually seen John Goodman on the tour when they've stopped in front of the house. He's actually talked with the guests on the tour on occasion. So kind of interesting there. Unfortunately, didn't get to see him on this tour, but um, was fun to see where he lives nonetheless. And again, very festive. All the houses there were very festive. They had a bunch of decorations for Mardi Gras, so it was fun to see that as well. Fun to see like how the decorations, how the party kind of is down there for Mardi Gras. And then yeah, kept walking around the tour. We didn't get to go in, but we stood outside of Lafayette Cemetery Number 1 and learn the history of what it's like to what kind of the burial ritual is like in that part of the world, in New Orleans specifically. Very unique. They have very unique customs, rituals to how they do that. Very ornate type of uh, burial chambers and things like that. Quite expensive as well. I won't spoil all of the details there. I definitely recommend that you go down and take one of those tours of the cemeteries and learn the history for yourself. It's very interesting, but definitely unique to that area, and a lot different, at least from where I'm from here in Washington State. Um, so yeah, we did that, and then we walked down to my sister and I. We walked down to this one place, which I don't remember the name. It wasn't too far from from the Lafayette Cemetery Number 1. It was a very nice little street where there's a bunch of restaurants, shops, that sort of thing. And we had a great meal at this little coffee shop slash cafe restaurant kind of thing. I think I had a margarita pizza and coffee or something like that. It was all really good, is what I remember. And my sister really enjoyed her food as well. So that was a lot of fun. And from there, we took the trolley, which the trolley system is very good there in New Orleans. And we took the trolley to the National World War II Museum, which I didn't realize was there until I started researching New Orleans and Louisiana. And so we went there and went to the museum, the National World War II Museum, and I really enjoyed it. It was very detailed. Told you a lot about kind of both sides. Showed you, not just all the things that we've heard about in school and things like that, but told you some more details, some lesser known details and things that kind of helped lead up to it, helped end the war and that sort of thing. Very interactive, immersive, just an interesting museum, and I definitely recommend checking it out. It was a ton of fun, especially if you're a war buff or a history buff. Definitely worth going to. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good experience, and I learned a lot about World War II and how it's kind of changed the world since then. So we went to that, and then on the way back, we stopped at a coffee shop to grab some coffee, and we got little mini king cakes, which are a big deal during Mardi Gras. They decorate them in the green, the gold, and the purple. Usually there's frosting, some kind of filling in the middle or whatever, and then there's the Jesus, the baby Jesus, usually in one piece of the big cakes. So we had king cake multiple times while we were there, which was very good. I'm really glad that we went during that time to get to experience that. Um, and then, went to Bourbon Street for a little bit that night. Went to a couple bars. There's live music all over that street. You can find anything that you want there. We went to one bar which had some good live music for a while. Had some dinner there. I can't remember what I had that night. Something unique to New Orleans. And then we walked just off of Bourbon Street. I think it was to Royal Street. And we went to the Carousel Hotel and Bar, something like that. In the bar itself, the bar is a carousel, so you can go sit at the bar and then it slowly rotates around. Kind of interesting. We didn't sit on that part because it was full. We went to the other part of the bar, which wasn't a carousel, and we had a good drink. And I don't know, it was fun. It was a really nice place. It seemed like a very nice hotel. And then my sister wanted to go back to the hotel, so she did that. And I actually went to. And this is one of my favorite parts of this trip. I got to go to. It's called Mahogany Jazz Hall, just off of Bourbon Street, and I got to hear a live jazz performance. And the kicker of it all was that I got to hear them play "What a Wonderful World." What a wonderful world. Jeez, can't say it. But that was amazing for me as a music fan, as a music history fan, that sort of thing. That was really cool to get to experience that in person, where New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz. Louis Armstrong is a big figure there, and so it was really cool to get to hear that famous song played live in New Orleans at a jazz club. What an experience that was. That's a memory I'll never forget. I really enjoyed that a lot. Anyways, I sat there for a few hours and enjoyed the music for a while. And then I went home. And then the next day, my sister and I, we walked through part of New Orleans to the rental car place, rented a car, and we took off to Biloxi, Mississippi. So it wasn't too far, maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours to Biloxi, Mississippi. I wanted to get Mississippi. I wanted to check that one off the list because I hadn't been to Mississippi before. So that was fun in itself to be able to get to check that off. But we went to a few neat places. We went to the Biloxi Lighthouse. That was our first stop. Just this little lighthouse. There's a little parking lot next to it, and then the Gulf of Mexico is right there. Kind of interesting. It's a really nice quick stop. Fun little photo stop there. They got a couple other statues there. They had one statue of an astronaut, Fred Hayes, who I believe was from Biloxi. So that was interesting as well. It was super windy when we were there, I remember, so we didn't stay too long because the wind was whipping pretty bad. But then we went to one of the hotels and casinos there, which kind of crazy. It's like a little tiny mini version of Las Vegas there. I definitely would not compare it to Las Vegas, but they had a number of Las Vegas style hotels and casinos there. And so we went to one of them. We had lunch there and gambled for a little bit. I lost my money, which sucked, but it was fun playing some craps there. And then my sister didn't want to. We were on our way back to New Orleans. My sister wanted to go to a mall there, so I dropped her off, and then I went to the Beauvoir House, which was the last home of Jefferson Davis, who was the Confederate president. back during the Civil War, and got to learn a little bit about his life, his background, and a little bit about the Confederate side of the Civil War. It was honestly really interesting to kind of learn more about the Civil War from the Confederate perspective versus the perspective that we're taught in school, which is definitely the Union perspective on things. At least in Washington State, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but I learned it from the Union perspective. So it was interesting to learn a little bit about that and experience it from a different point of view. And honestly, I love that about traveling. I love that about experiencing all the history in different places, is that you get to experience it from, maybe you learned something in a textbook in school or something, or maybe you learned it through someone from where you live, but actually going to that place, going to experience it from a different point of angle or point of view, that's really interesting to me. And I feel like it really makes me a better person to do that. So I really enjoyed those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I really like that. It wasn't too long of a tour. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all, but very informative. And yeah, really enjoyed it. And yeah, so we drove along. Also, one of the interesting things to note, one of the interesting things to me as we drove along the coast on our way back. But seeing all the houses there, they're all built on stilts. So there's pretty much there's no first floor or ground floor to any of these houses. And I believe that's because of all the flooding and things like that. But it's kind of weird to see because I haven't ever really experienced that before. But all the houses, like none of them had a first floor to them. Not a good place if you can't make it up and downstairs, to say the least. All right, so we made it back to New Orleans. I went back to the hotel, dropped off the car, that sort of thing, and then we went back down to the French Quarter, and we took a jazz cruise that night on the Mississippi River. Which, saying those two things together, pretty amazing. It was fun being on the Mississippi River. It was fun listening to jazz on the Mississippi River, just outside of New Orleans. So yeah, we took a nice cruise up and down the river there along New Orleans, and some good music, and on an old steam engine, river boat, the ones we see in pictures and textbooks and that sort of thing. Ton of fun. It was a little cold. It was cold and rainy a lot of times, a lot of the days that we were there. But it was definitely worth it. Okay, what else? Let's see. I'm just looking at some of the pictures there. I believe it was that night, yeah. My sister wanted to go back to the hotel, and so I went out on Bourbon Street by myself, and I listened to some live music. Maybe it was the other night. I think it was another night. Anyways, we walked on Bourbon Street for a little bit that night. That's kind of the way we had to get back to our hotel anyways. So then we went back in the morning on Bourbon Street, and there was a really good cafe that we had breakfast at. I can't remember the name of it now, and I really apologize for that. I'll have to find it, but it was awesome. And we had, I had the biscuits and gravy. Hands down, the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had. It was absolutely incredible. I should try to find that. What was the name of that place? Oh, it was so good. I don't remember. It was right on Bourbon Street on one of the corners. Dang, I can't find it now. I'm sorry for the delay here. Yeah, I can't find it. But anyways, it was incredible. Great biscuits and gravy. I can't remember what my sister had, but she really enjoyed her food as well. All right, so we went and had breakfast there, and then we went to uh, the New Orleans Historic Voodoo Museum, which a little tiny place, very interesting, very outside of my comfort realm. Don't didn't know much about voodoo going into it. Um, was not sure what to expect. It was very very interesting. Um, fun to learn about the history of voodoo and kind of understand how that came about, what it actually is like, um, that sort of thing. It was different, um, and to show you guys that I am not perfect, I paid with a credit card to for our tickets to get into the museum, and I I am so anal about making sure that I have my credit cards, my ID, that sort of thing. I'm always when I'm traveling, I'm always checking that I have that stuff. You can talk to anyone that I've traveled with; they'll tell you that I'm very on top of it. I'm always like almost annoyingly touching my wallet, making sure that it's there, making sure my passport's there, that sort of thing. Um, I always make sure I have my stuff. And for whatever reason, going into this place, I spaced it. um, I I don't remember exactly what happened, how I ended up not getting my credit card back, but the guy that took my credit card to pay didn't give it back to me, and I got distracted enough to where I didn't think to get it back. And we were like halfway down the street after we had gone through the museum, and I realized I don't have my credit card. So I went back and very embarrassingly asked for my credit card back. Luckily, they had it. It was all good. No harm, no foul. But that moment of panic was not very fun and not one that I recommend anyone experiencing. Um, so probably gonna make me even worse when it comes to checking that I have my stuff with me. So um, yeah, that was not a fun moment on the trip. um, Luckily, it wasn't too bad. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm glad I got my credit card back and didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. So, anyways, um, yeah. Then we went walked along. I think it was Royal Street, and we went to I think it's Pirates Alley, which is a very beautiful alley. Actually, I have a picture of it, or a painting. I mean, very beautiful. Ended up getting a couple paintings at one of the shops there. Lots of little art shops and things like that in the French Quarter. But really, really like that. And then got some more king cake. We went up to uh, this place that some of Nicole's friends had recommended, who are from New Orleans. They recommended this place called the Parkway Bakery and Tavern to get po' boys, which the po' boy sandwich is a famous thing in New Orleans, local to there. And I got to tell you, they were pretty good. Um, really enjoyed those. That was a great place to have them. Definitely felt authentic, and we really got a lot out of that. And then from there, we walked through a park there in New Orleans. Walked for a little bit, but honestly, we walked a ton on this trip, and we were both kind of tired at that point. So we ended up taking an Uber back to the hotel, and then we walked over to from the hotel, we walked over to Smoothie King Arena, where the New Orleans Pelicans play basketball for the NBA. And it's actually right next to the now Caesars Superdome, where the New Orleans Saints play in the NFL. It was like a 10-15 minute walk from our hotel. In the rain, though, I should say. It rained a lot while we were there, and so we definitely got wet. But went to see the Pelicans play. They were playing the Dallas Mavericks, and it was Mardi Gras night, so they had some Mardi Gras festivities going on while we were there. But we got to see an exciting game. We thought the Pelicans were out of it early on, and then they ended up coming back and I think tying it, taking the lead for a little bit. Eventually Dallas won, though, but it turned into quite the game, and we really enjoyed it. And then, went back to the hotel, and this was the night that I went out on Bourbon Street by myself. Went to see some live music. I can't remember the name of this place either. It's something Beach Club, I believe. Beach on Bourbon, maybe. Yeah, that was it. The Beach on Bourbon. That's what it was called. Great place. The band was amazing. They were doing cover songs from all over the place. They were awesome. It was a ton of fun being there, and I really enjoyed it. Spent a few hours there, and then I was tired. It was like midnight, 1 a.m, whatever. So I went back to the hotel and went to bed. And then the next day we went to Mardi Gras World, which is a massive warehouse where some of the floats for Mardi Gras are stored, and some of the past ones are stored, and that sort of thing. And you can take a tour through there. And so we took this amazing tour through it. You just kind of walk through it. It's self-guided, but it was really fun to see all the floats, see all the work that goes into making those floats. It's like a year-round thing there. Quite the ordeal. There's a lot that goes into Mardi Gras every year, and some elaborate floats there as well. We really enjoyed that. Ton of amazing floats. And then we went down to the French Quarter again and went and had lunch at this place, which, again, don't remember the name of. Should have had all these ready. I could tell you if you're interested. Had lunch, and then we went to Bourbon Street, and there was, I planned this on purpose, but there was a Mardi Gras parade that was going to start. It was the Cork and Wine, or the Cork Club or something, was the one that were putting it on. Anyways, it was wine themed, and it was just funny to see all these people lined up. They're in their costumes. They're all part of this club. And for a while there, we got there a little bit early, so they were all standing. They're all talking, whatever. They had all their beads and things ready to go, and they started throwing some of the beads out. Honestly, it was kind of dangerous. We were standing about like 2 rows back on the side of the street, and they were throwing those beads, and they had little like wine glass charms and things like that they were throwing out. And those things kind of hurt if you're not paying attention. So it was fun to kind of experience that. And I got to catch a few beads from the crowd. And then I got to, as they started moving, they started throwing more. And so caught a few, and then we got to see the parade kind of start and go for a little while. And so I have the beads hanging up in my apartment right now, actually. And it was just kind of a fun, free souvenir, fun memory. And I'm definitely glad I got to experience at least a little bit of Mardi Gras down there in New Orleans. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. After that, we had to go to the airport. So we went back that way. But yeah, what a trip. It was a ton of fun. It was really fun getting to experience it with my sister. And yeah, just fun to see all the history, all of the unique foods, all of the just unique part of the world and of the country. It's having traveled to most of the country. It's very different from most of the country that I've been to. Definitely a unique place and full of culture, full of food, full of history, full of all the things that you could want. You could spend a lot of time there. I think we were there for about 5 days altogether, and 5 days was good. We got to experience a lot. We also got to go to Mississippi, which is cool. But I could say you could spend a week there for sure, and probably not experience all the things that you want to. But really enjoyed it there, and it was fun to get to take my sister with me on that trip. And that's really what I want to do. I love part of the reason why I've gotten so into traveling is because I've also gotten to take people with me, and having traveled alone a lot, and then having been able to bring people with me as I've traveled. It's just so fun now to get to see other people experience travel, experience all these places. Help them get to experience things like first class on an airplane or something like that. And so that's what I want to do more of. And that's my vision for this. My goal for this is to be able to get to a point where, I can help others travel. And so, that's where your support comes in. If you subscribe, if you listen, if you do all those things, it really helps me to make the income and grow this to where I can give people these opportunities, and maybe yourself these opportunities. And so I really appreciate all of the support. Hopefully enjoy my ramblings. Maybe every fifth episode really sucks for you, and I apologize for that. But it's fun to get to share some of this myself. And so, thanks again, everyone. 25 episodes down. I can't believe it. 6 months into this thing, and I can't wait for the next 6 months and to see what happens. If you have any questions about my trip, if you want to learn more details, if you want some of those names of places, I can definitely go find them for you. Just reach out via Instagram, Facebook. You can email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. But just get in touch. If you like this, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know that too. And I'll appreciate any feedback. So thanks again, everyone. And I will see you for episode 26. Bye, everyone. Hey, everybody. Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify and Anchor. And now you can also listen on YouTube. Links are in the description below. If you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page and or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my new show, From Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to discuss one specific travel topic, whether that be questions I get from listeners, sharing some souvenirs that I've bought over the years, or discussing one particular city or country that I've been to, and so much more. You'll be able to listen to that via Spotify and Anchor as well, and be able to see the video version, which I'm really excited about, on YouTube. So check it out. I promise you won't be disappointed. And thanks again for listening, and I will see you around the world soon.